A few years ago, the internet was fascinated with city pop, but now a different kind of retro J-pop is making waves online. As city pop lost popularity in the 90s, a new style of music took the center stage in Tokyo's Shibuya district. Shibuya-Kei started as a cultural movement. It reflected the vibrant music scene of Shibuya alongside the interests of those both making and buying records at the time. There's so many talented artists within the Shibuya-Kei umbrella, and the group that I've been obsessed with lately is Serani Poji. Their music has always been relatively unknown. That is until the internet rediscovered them last year. Serani Poji are best known for Where's Smiley and Pipo Pipo, but most people don't know the bizarre story behind both of these songs and the group as a whole. The story of Serani Poji coincides with its most important member, Tomoko Sasaki. She grew up in a rural area of Japan and was involved with music from a young age. After starting university, Sasaki formed an all-female punk band, but quickly realized that stage performances weren't for her. In the early 90s, Sasaki moved to Tokyo for work, but she couldn't find a job. Video games were her only comfort at the time, so she applied to a human resources job at Sega, but ended up being hired as a composer. Sasaki composed music for a number of games throughout her career, as well as doing some voice acting work too. She even contributed music for Super Smash Bros. Brawl and wrote a song for Hoshimashi Suisei. But her most important project is a game that I don't think any of us have played or even heard of before. Sasaki was a part of a Sega subcommittee that researched what kind of games they should make in the future. Inspired by her interest in Y2K era webcams, Sasaki proposed a game that would only take place in a single room, and her proposal became the basis for Romania 203. It's a life simulation game that is pretty strange to say the least. The game takes place in an apartment of a college student named Neji Taihei, and the player is a godlike figure that tries to make Neji's life more eventful. It's basically an anti-NEET game that was loosely based on Sasaki's own life experiences. So how is Romania 203 connected to Serani Poji? Well, this poster in Neji's room is actually a poster of his favorite artist named Serani Poji. Sasaki wanted to feature a Shibuya-Kei artist in the game, and have their songs played both randomly and during specific events. To do this, Sasaki partnered with producer Yukihiro Fukutomi and vocalist Yukichi of the indie pop group Cecil. She didn't intend for Serani Poji's music to have a Shibuya-Kei sound, but this kinda seemed inevitable with Fukutomi on the team, as he's worked with some of the biggest names in the Shibuya-Kei music scene. Serani Poji's music was played on the CD player and TV in Neji's room throughout the game. Certain songs are played at the end of specific scenarios, with the lyrics reflective on what was going on in the game. On October 30th, 1999, Serani Poji were no longer a fictional artist, as the group released their first album Manamun to promote Romania 203. With Yukichi's whispery voice and Fukutomi's rich arrangements, Sasaki was able to create a soundtrack that both fit the tone of the game, whilst also being great standalone music. The game was released a few months later, and every PS2 copy came with a remix CD. Romania 203's soundtrack was received very well, so the Serani Poji project continued on. In November of 2002, Serani Poji released their second album, One Room Survival, to promote the sequel of Romania 203. This album embodies the feel of early 2000s J-pop culture and is a very colorful and fun listen. Compared to Manamun, the songs have a much brighter feel, and you'll immediately notice that it's a different person singing. Around this time, Yukichi had left the group, so Yumi Higashino was brought in as a replacement. This was also the last Serani Poji collaboration with Fukutomi as a producer. Sasaki said that the group's aim for One Survival Room was to make pop music that was easy to listen to, but a number of tracks can become quite sad if they're heard alongside the game's story. Pipo Pipo was played at the end of a narrative arc about a robot dog with human emotions. The song's cheerfulness can quickly become bittersweet when paired with the narrative's ending. Where's Smiley ties into a plot involving a child, and although the lyrics are quite silly, the narrative can make the song quite melancholic. As Serani Poji carried on both in-game and as a real-world artist, its members continued to change over time. 2003 marked the first year that the group released music that wasn't made to promote a Romania game. They released an EP called Bomber Minmi in December that featured 3 new songs and 1 remix of a song from their first album. It has a very nostalgic and mellow sound while also being pretty upbeat. The following year saw the release of Serani Poji's third album, Ocharmekan. Once again, Sasaki was doing most of the work with the help of a few arrangers, including my favorite Sega composer Tomoya Otani. 2 of the album's tracks are from the group's previous EP, and the third song, Shopping Mania, is an arrangement of a song from Super Galdelic Hour. If you thought Romania was a weird game, give this game a search and you will not be disappointed. This album has a more electric kind of sound to it. Sasaki describes it as Akishibuke. basically a mix of Shibuya-Kei and Akiba-Kei, which is supposed to embody the otaku subculture of Akihabara. What's most intriguing about Ocharmekan isn't even the music, it's the 3 bonus videos that were included with it. One video is a 20-minute drama-style film. It's called Go Go Supergirl and was used to help create a narrative for the album. It's about the origins of Supergirl, the character that the album's first song is about. Funny enough, the main actress in the film is actually Higashino, the group's singer, and she actually becomes Supergirl. The other 2 videos were promotional material for the songs Bomber Minmi and Goodbye Ichigo-chan. A big thank you to Peppicorn for uploading these videos to YouTube. Sometime after the release of Ocharmekan, Higashino announced that she'd be leaving Serani Poji, which left Sasaki as the group's only member. This resulted in Serani Poji going on extended hiatus for a while. But in 2009, Sasaki announced via MySpace that she was gonna revive Serani Poji as a solo project. So in 2010, Serani Poji released its 4th and final album to date called Merry-Go-Round Jailhouse. This was the first time that Sasaki provided vocals for the project, and she did a great job with maintaining the girly pop sound. After Merry-Go-Round Jailhouse, years passed without any updates on Serani Poji. During this time, Sasaki was working on a new project alongside her sister Wakaba, called Tokyo Heidi. The sister duo creates illustrations, songs, and a bunch of other stuff. Needless to say, Sasaki's Tokyo Heidi project has been very successful, but it doesn't mean she's given up on Serani Poji. Back in 2017, Sasaki announced at a live event that she was going to release new music under Serani Poji for the release of a successor game to Romania 203. Unfortunately, the game was cancelled, and Serani Poji have yet to officially release any of the music that was done for the game. Since then, the return of Serani Poji has looked more unlikely with every year that's passed. That brings us to 2023, the year that Serani Poji's music was rediscovered online and used frequently on social media. With the renewed interest in Serani Poji, their music began to be officially uploaded to both YouTube and streaming platforms. We then got an official Serani Poji TikTok page and a sped up version of Pipo Pipo, where Smiley and Pipo Pipo have over 1 billion plays on TikTok, and it featured on Billboard's TikTok Top 50 chart. Unlike a lot of obscure Japanese artists that have resurfaced online in the past few years, there's no mystery as to what happened to Serani Poji. Although, fans are dying to know if the 14-year absence of Serani Poji will end anytime soon. So what do you think of Serani Poji? If I misinterpreted any info, or if you have any new info that I didn't cover, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thanks for watching.